If you followed me for any amount of time, you know that I absolutely adore Bethesda games, which of course includes Skyrim. But there's one thing I've always hated about it: the dragons. They're absolutely terrible, and the game is better off without them. It makes the most sense to start from a technical gameplay perspective. Physics in Skyrim have always been a bit wonky, to say the least, but the flying physics are outright broken, and for a game that came out nearly a decade ago and has been ported to everything from your Switch to your smart toaster, it's an unacceptable nuisance. We've all seen dragons flying through the sky only to dive bomb through the floor, or even get lost completely. And I think every player has felt the nagging annoyance of just trying to complete a quest or go about their playthrough before seeing a shadow from overhead, interrupting you with yet another predictable dragon encounter, as their tactics, appearance, and rewards don't vary all that wildly. And one would think that these hulking beasts would at least be great to summon, but in practice, they aren't even helpful when they're fighting on your side. For many, dragons have become inseparable from the Elder Scrolls since Skyrim was the entry point for a large chunk of fans, due to its wild popularity on last-gen consoles. But personally, the draw of the Elder Scrolls has always been the wild variety of Nirn's various continents, from Morrowind to Cyrodiil and beyond. Pigeonholing the entire franchise to dragons and the singular continent of Skyrim just seems like a huge oversimplification, and it's a disservice to longtime fans and even new ones. I've covered modding in Skyrim for years on this channel, PS4 mods specifically, in an attempt to highlight some of the cool things that modders have managed to pull off, even with Sony limiting them so significantly. But as of late, I've been playing on PC again, which is absolutely stunning in 4K 21:9 by the way. While alternate start mods have been available on console, I never really utilized them, opting instead to grin and bear it through that carriage ride. Again.
Hey, you.
And again.
Hey, you.
And again. But with my latest attempt, I've decided to use alternate start, Live Another Life. It not only provides you with different entry points to the game, but eliminates the main narrative, as I haven't seen a single dragon in the dozens of hours that I've spent rolling my latest character. And the experience feels just as deep, if not deeper. And I believe it highlights a few flaws in modern RPGs. Players always take up the mantle of a savior of some variety, tasked with saving the world from a terrible beast or magical threat, after you complete hours of side quests and steal everything that isn't nailed down, of course. You know, whenever you get a chance. It's no big deal. Just, you know, the people of the realm don't want to be a bother. Writers often refer to these realm-destroying, world-ending events in a narrative as the Passover Moment. It's the reason for you being here in the game right now at this very moment. Or, you know, whenever you get to it, again, whenever you get a chance, no rush. But this concept works more so in a strictly visual medium like film, as opposed to an interactive one like games. In a strictly visual format, if there were no Passover Moment, we might end up watching a film about some guy's boring office job, what's known as a slice of life, whereas games are able to be solely based on the mundane because of their interactivity. I don't need a world-shattering event in a game where I can attend a magical college, or join an infamous assassin's guild, or even take up the mantle of a vampire hunter. In such a wide world packed with so much content, the depth and breadth are the selling points, not the scaly boys who like interrupting my every outing. Rather than such an intrusive main story, I'd rather a narrative that provides a loose framework for the rest of my adventures, a reason to visit various cities across the expansive continent, but not one that creates an empty sense of urgency or completely alienates the player. Which is another problem with playing the Savior. It instantly alienates the player, never allowing you to feel like a true citizen of Skyrim, no matter how many realism mods you cram into the game. As a creative example, I've been working on a script for a quest mod where the player begins as a simple citizen of the realm, living in solitude, free to experience the local quests before accidentally crossing a local band of thugs. These bandits not only run the player out of town, but will eventually catch up to the player after a few days in a given place, prodding the player forward to a new town or city. Eventually, along this journey, players can become whoever they wish, but will always have a sense of urgency that bubbles just under the surface. In a more concrete example, I've been playing as a mage who hiked their way across the continent in the hopes of attending the College of Winterhold. only to become its headmaster, protecting the school from dormant magical threats, seeking out new items of power, and even dabbling in the dark arts. Sandbox RPGs in this vein don't need to push some over-the-top narrative as its highlight feature, but instead the veritable virtual theme park that it offers instead. The potential stories hidden away in the depths of a cave or at the top of a mountain, and the stories that you can write for yourself. To sum up my thoughts, when I appraise Skyrim in its entirety, its secret sauce really isn't the dragons, and I'd still argue that they're a weak point in the experience as a whole. And as another point of proof, I've been making mod compilations for 2 years, and not once has someone ever requested a dragon-specific mod list. And so Skyrim will remain dragon-free, at least for me, for further notice. And I urge others to do the same, using mods like No Random Dragons or Vampires, and Alternate Start, Live Another Life. And for other mods, make sure to check out my Skyrim playlist and subscribe for even more Skyrim content. And as always, thanks for another f***ing dragon. Leave me alone! Another dragon. It's another dragon.